All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into the story of a band that did something way bigger than just selling out stadiums. They literally invented a genre, they gave a voice to an entire culture, and they sparked a global music movement, all from two tiny Caribbean islands. This is the incredible story of Kassav.
I mean, you really have to ask yourself this question. Just think about it for a second. We're talking about a time before the internet made everything global. How on earth did a band, singing mostly in Creole, a language that very few people outside the Caribbean could understand, end up as one of the biggest live acts on the entire planet?
And to really wrap your head around their power, you have to forget about little clubs in theaters. No. Picture this. The Stade de France, that gigantic stadium just outside Paris, completely packed, buzzing with energy. And get this, that wasn't some lucky one-time thing. For over 40 years, Kassav was a stadium-level force. It's just proof of a sound that absolutely refused to be boxed in.
So let's start at the peak of their power. This wasn't just music, not even close. It was this unstoppable force of nature, a sound that felt like it was engineered from the ground up to conquer dance floors, to leap across borders, and to unite every single person in just pure, unfiltered joy.
Okay, try to get this number in your head. 40,000 people in a single concert. That's not just a crowd, you know. That's a small city. It's this moving, breathing sea of humanity, all dancing together, completely lost in the moment, singing along to every single word. That was the raw, kinetic energy of a Kassav show.
But a sound that massive, that powerful, it has to come from somewhere deep, right? To really understand how they built this musical empire, we have to go back to its cultural heart, deep in the Caribbean.
And our story really kicks off right here, on the French Caribbean islands of Guadeloupe and Martinique. Now, they're two separate places, but they share this incredibly deep history. They share a Creole language and this complex, beautiful cultural identity. It was the perfect crucible, the perfect storm to forge something totally new.
And their music. It was like a recipe, you know? A recipe made from all these powerful ideas. It was about racines, their deep African and Caribbean roots. It was about solidarity, that feeling of standing together. The pure joy of Carnaval, of course. And maybe most important of all, dignité. This powerful, unapologetic statement of pride and self-worth.
But here's the thing. They didn't just want to reflect their culture. They wanted to modernize it. They wanted to export it to the world. So this group of absolute visionaries got together with a mission. They were going to create the definitive sound of the modern Caribbean. And that new sound, it needed a name. So they called it Zouk. Now, in Creole, the word Zouk can mean party, and honestly, that's exactly what it was. The mission was to engineer this high-octane, universal sound that could bring anyone from anywhere on Earth together to celebrate.
And you cannot talk about this vision without talking about the man right at the center of it all, the legendary co-founder and guitarist, the late, great Jacob Desvarieux. On stage, you know, in front of all those thousands of people, his introduction was always the same, and it said everything. Le boss. The boss. And of course, every boss needs an engine room. And for Kassav, man, that was the absolute powerhouse bassist, Georges Decimus, and his brother Pierre-Edouard. The stage announcer's call just says it all. C'est Georges Decimus, voiture, which means it's Georges Decimus, the car. His bass lines were that driving, relentless force that just pushed the whole band and the whole crowd forward.
So the beat was infectious, right? You couldn't help but move. But, and this is so important, Kassav was never just about the beat. If you really listened, really listened, underneath those rhythms was a deep, powerful message. These guys were not afraid to get political. A lyric like Solidarité, la loi pas toujours sérieux, that translates to solidarity, the law isn't always serious. That's a sharp, knowing wink, a critique of injustice, and it's a message of pride and resilience for what they called the petit pays, the small countries of the world. And their message could also be just incredibly personal and tender. During their Carnaval tour, the amazing singer Jocelyn Berard would deliver this line from the perspective of a mother talking to her child with disabilities. And she'd sing, Personne ne pourra le remplacer. No one could ever replace you. It's just this moment of profound love and empathy that shows you the incredible heart of their music. And right there, that is the absolute genius of the Kassav formula. See, you came for the celebration and the pure joy. You stayed for the love songs and the romance. But woven into every single note was this undeniable sense of identity, of roots, and this deep social consciousness. It was music you could dance to, fall in love to, and think to, all at the same damn time.
So you take that infectious sound, you mix in that profound soul, and what do you get? Well, you get one of the most legendary, electrifying live shows on the entire planet. A Kassav concert wasn't something you just went to see. It was something you did. It was an event. It always started with this unstoppable call and response that just sucked everybody in. And that created this unbelievable sea of synchronized dancing. It was just a non-stop party, a carnival, all held together by the band's absolute, flawless, breathtaking musical mastery.
This, right here, was their superpower. Complete and total crowd command. With one simple phrase, attention, tout le monde sans exception, attention, everyone without exception, they could get 40,000 people, from the very front row to the nosebleeds in the back, all moving as one. It was less a concert and more a joyous, unified human spectacle.
Look, that kind of power, that kind of connection, it doesn't just fade away. What Kassav built wasn't just a string of hit songs, it was a permanent cultural institution. Their legacy is forever.
You can literally trace their global reign across the decades. From that first explosion in the 1980s to their iconic 30th anniversary show at the Stade de France, all the way to today. For generations of fans all over the world, Kassav isn't just a Zouk band. For them, Kassav is Zouk.
But you know, perhaps nothing captures their true importance better than this one phrase, a phrase that became an anthem for their fans. Zouk la c'est seul médicament nous nie. It means Zouk is the only medicine we have. For millions of people, this music wasn't just entertainment. It was essential. It was therapy. It was life itself.
So yeah, after decades of musical innovation, after all those boundary-shattering performances, and after spreading a message of unity and pride that echoed across the globe, their title is secure. There's no debate. They are, and they will always be, the undisputed kings and queens of Zouk. The incredible story of Kassav leaves us with one last thing to think about. What does it really take for music to cross every border of language, culture, and geography? Well, they teach us it's probably not just one thing. It's the rhythm, it's the message, it's the performance, and it's that undeniable, powerful dose of soul that speaks a language absolutely everyone can understand. Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.